Alright guys, so this is the look I went for today, and it is green and pink and glittery because self-care. So I'm starting with the Funsize 2 palette from Sugarpill, the shade Button Mash, which is a deep green matte. And I'm taking that along my outer corner, winging that shape out just a little bit. I'm taking that along my lower outer lash line as well. And I'm going to go into my very inner corner to help kind of get some added dimension and depth when I start to build my other colors on top. In the original Funsize palette from Sugarpill, I'm starting with Cheat Code, and I'm just going to help blend out those edges. It's kind of just a lighter version of Button Mash, just a light sort of bluish green aqua color. And then directly underneath it is the shade Twitch, which is a kind of light true green. I'm taking that along my lower lash line primarily, and then to kind of bridge the gap between the two colors on my upper lid as well. So I'm taking a matte concealer. This one is just a random e.l.f. concealer that's way too light for me to block out my lid. And then I'm going to go in with my pinks. So I'm starting with the Juvias Place Sweet Pinks palette. I'm taking the deepest of the matte pinks right on my center lid. And then from the Funsize 2 palette, I'm going in with the shade Double Jump, which is a light pink. And I'm going to kind of get a gradient going of those two colors. But I'm stopping at my middle lid, I guess, before going into the Melt and Bailey Sarian palette. And I'm starting with the shade Strychnine, which is a dark teal kind of color, for some extra depth right on the outer corner, because I am a sucker for extra depth and dramaticism. And then going in with the shade Sarin, which is a deep sort of burgundy to kind of bridge the gap between the green and the pink. So in the discontinued Suva Beauty Magic and Ecstasy palette, I'm going in with the pink glitter in the shade Deception all over the pink on my lid. And then I'm going into the green glitter, which is in the shade Alchemy. It's kind of a green with a orange and yellow and gold glitter flip to it. And then because that's never enough glitter, I'm going into the Nabla Miami Lights glitter quad, and I'm starting with the shade Muses, which is that pink, and then following it up with the shade Aries, which is that sort of white base. I do ultimately go in with two liners. They're both from Colourpop. They're the Colourpop multichrome gel liners, but both of them have the colors completely wiped off. I have no idea what the shades are. It's the teal one is the one I just went in with first. Now I am blocking out my brows with my brow powder, just to clean up that shape a little bit. And now I realized about this point that I had more of that minty green on one eye than the other, so I'm just going in with it to even out the shapes a little bit. And here I am with that purple multichrome liner from Colourpop that, again, the color is unknown to me because I have worn it off with how much I use it. Next, I'm taking the Tarte Satin Cream Blush in the shade Mauve. I'm just I'm just taking that all over my lip, but not lip, I can't talk. I'm taking that over my cheeks is what I'm doing. And I'm starting to tap that out with my finger before going in with the brush just to go over the edges. Next up is bronzer. This is discontinued. It's just a light, super light bronzer on me for some extra shape. Really, that's it. And then because I wanted more impact on my blush, I went in with the shade Independence from Nabla Cosmetics, which is beautiful and did what I wanted my blush to do. Alright, next up is my discontinued Seismic highlighter from Colourpop, which is my Project Pan highlighter and also my Holy Grail highlighter. It is lovely, and I will cry when I run out of it. At this point, I'm just curling my lashes and going in with my mascara. So at this moment, I will talk you guys through my base that I did off camera. I started with my skin, which was the coverfx Power Play liquid foundation in the shade N20. I just took that all over and I buffed that in with a brush. I did go in with some concealer. I went in with the Tarte Shape Tape Creamy Concealer in 22B, particularly around my brows and my mouth, because that's where I have the most discoloration. And then I did brows, and that was all I did off camera. And as you can see, I'm doing the rest of my brows on camera. Here I am going in with my Benefit Gimme Brow. For lips, I started with the Slim Lip Liner from NYX in the shade Currant, which is just a dark kind of berry red color. And I'm both lining my lips and I'm going to fill in the corners of my lips with this color. And then finally, I'm going in with the Maybelline Vinyl Ink Liquid Lipstick in the shade Striking, which is a really beautiful, bold, bright, hot pink. And the biggest reason I'm going in with this over the lip liner is to kind of bridge that gap between the deep eye and the bright lip. I wanted there to be some kind of balance. And ultimately, that is the look.